Good morning. It's a little after 8 o'clock. We'll begin the committee meeting for the Economic Development and Workforce Services Committee. We do have a quorum. We've got Senator Kitchen online. First thing up will be approval of the February 8th minutes. Senator Owens.
Move we approve February 8th minutes.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That's unanimous. First up on the agenda is Senate Bill 175, Daylight Savings Time Modifications. Senator McCay.
Thank you. Hang on just one second. Open up my computer here so I can have Senate Bill 175 up. While I do that, I thank the committee for being here today. You'll remember in 2020, we passed a bill that made it so that we would spring forward and stay forward with the permission of Congress. Everybody remembers this, right? And since that time, let me see real quickly. Since that time, Washington, Oregon, Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana have already passed similar laws. So the question then becomes, what are we waiting for? Well, for those of you who paid attention closely in 2020, what we needed to do was, hold on one second. What we needed to do was apply to the Department of Interior, and that act permits us to apply for an exemption. In 2005, that's when actually it went into place. And that exemption was granted to Arizona and Guam. And interestingly, since that time, Chief Justice John Roberts said the following: "The states are separate and independent sovereigns, and sometimes they have to act like it." When Chief Justice John Roberts says things like that, I'm inspired. And so, as I contemplated waiting for Congress, I've thought of the many times in the United States history that we have waited for Congress to act. And as fun as it can be to wait patiently for Congress to act, you have the majority of states around us who would like to make this change with us. And it's just going to take one of us to act like the independent sovereign that Chief Justice John Roberts offers. For a reminder of many, including my wife who's listening online and who really wanted me to run this bill, along with many others, I can't tell you how many people thought that when we passed the bill in 2020 that Congress would act quickly and do something about it quickly. I could quote, and I will quote, that recent polls confirm that people hate daylight savings time. They want one or the other. Stay backwards or stay forwards. And that universal debate or the universal loathing of the springing backward and forward creates this, the situation where we actually do spring forward or we actually fall backwards. Interestingly, south of the equator, it's opposite, right? They fall forward and spring back because their seasons are opposite. And the dates and times they do it are different. Interestingly also, China and India do not swap their clocks back and forward. And so anyway, to make a long story short, it's bad for sleep patterns. It's bad for your health. Springing forward is great for your golf game. And it's also great for, people say, well, why would we want to stay sprung forward? And I say, well, the opportunity we have at night after work, most people work during the day. The opportunity to have those extended hours in the evenings are beneficial. If I'm just trying to think anyway, that's the basic policy of the bill. Some would say, well, what happens? How would this actually work? someone asked me the other day. So I don't know if you know this. I don't actually know what time it is in Washington, D.C. most of the time. And you know what? Believe it or not, only a few of them pay attention to what time it is here. What I did do is I reached out, and I'm still waiting for an answer. Guess who tells me what time it is every day? Apple. Believe it or not, Apple is more powerful than the federal government is on this issue, as is Android. For those poor, pathetic people using Android. Yeah, Senator Anderegg is the one behind me who always makes my group text messages go green. He wonders why he's never included in group messages. The long and short of it is I'm waiting for the tech companies to give us an idea of what would happen as a result of this bill and how they would react to it. And in the meantime, I asked for the committee's support, and with that, I waive my time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Comments from the committee? Senator Owens.
Yeah, thanks, Senator. So this undoes what we did with daylight. Seemed like, I don't know if in my time here that we haven't had a daylight savings bill. So does this undo what we did a year ago?
No. What it does is it springs us forward in the spring when it's time for us to leave the abysmal time that we're on right now, and we will spring forward in the spring and not fall back in the fall. So it will be darker in the mornings.
What about with surrounding states and compliance, that when they go to adopt it, then we adopt it together?
Mm-hmm. So, I know this will surprise you, but I'm an early adopter on many things, right? And so I can't imagine a scenario where Idaho doesn't come with us. I can't imagine a scenario where Montana doesn't come with us. You've got Washington and Oregon waiting in the wings, and other states are considering it this legislative session as well. I think what you see developing across the country is everyone's growing tired of the spring forward, fall back mentality or tradition, and they've had a great run. I mean, it's been over 100 years of doing this. It's time for the rest of us to experience the other side. So that's it.
Okay. Senator Kitchen.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. So I'm interested in hearing from the public on this because I've gotten a fair amount of feedback, both positive and negative, on this matter. I'm personally interested in supporting this today, but I wondered if the sponsor would be open to something like the this is kind of a joke, but a task force like the state flag, right? Or maybe we could even look at allowing Riverton City to pilot this. And maybe you could, keep your time the way you have it, and then report back in a few years and let us know how it's going.
Is that a question?
It's an idea.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right, we'll go back come to the public now. We do have a couple online. Jay Pay, let's come to you first. If you'll unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello, yes, thank you. Can you hear me all okay?
Yes.
Very good. My name is JP, and I am the president of the nonprofit Save Standard Time. We're a 501c4 that's working with doctors and scientists and teachers. We oppose daylight saving time. We don't like clock change, but we would oppose this bill because it goes in the wrong direction. It would extend daylight saving time into the winter. There's a very good reason we only do DST in the summer. There's more daylight to be playing around with. If you tried to do this in the winter, you'd be forcing people to get up and go to work and school in the dark. So we would support permanent standard time. Permanent standard time is supported by the public polling. More of the public wants standard time, not daylight saving time. Certainly everybody agrees that, well, most, like 9 out of 10, want to get rid of clock change, but more prefer standard time. The federal law prefers standard time. It's pre-approved. There's no special exemption for Arizona, Hawaii, Guam, Puerto Rico, the Northern Mariana Islands, American Samoa. They are all following federal law, which grants permission to opt out of DST and restore permanent standard time. I sent a letter to the committee that outlines many studies. There are literally hundreds of studies showing that it's much healthier to be on standard time. It's the real time defined from the position of the sun in the sky. If you were on permanent daylight saving time today, you'd be having this meeting in the dark right now. The sun would not come up until 8:30 in the morning in Salt Lake City. It came up at 7:30 today on standard time. So that's the way things are designed to be. I think if you asked your constituents, do you want to be on summertime or wintertime? They might say, oh, summer's nice. Everybody loves summer. It's warm and pleasant. But this bill cannot make winter become summer. It actually just, by turning our clocks forward an hour, it makes us go to work early. It makes us get up early. So if you asked your constituents, would you willingly set your alarm clock an hour early every day and go to school and work in the dark for nearly half the year? I think they would say no. So please, I ask you to look at the letter. I sent some comparison photos of what it looks like in the morning on each clock. Listen to the history and the law. We've tried this before also, the history. In 1974, we tried permanent DST, and literally people died because they were struck on the roads by sleepy motorists. It's been tried and reverted other times in history and in other countries as well. So please look at the history, look at the polls, look at the science, look at the federal law, and go for permanent standard time. You'd be right aligned with your neighbor down in Arizona as well. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
And I can answer any questions if you like.
Okay, I don't see anything for you, so next one will be Mike Maughan.
Thank you for letting me have a few minutes. I'm Mike Maughan. I'm President and General Manager of Alta Ski Area. Speaking today representing the ski industry. Nathan Rafferty, Ski Utah, was unable to attend, and so I'm speaking on behalf of the ski industry. We are concerned about the impacts that moving to permanent daylight savings time would have on the ski industry in particular. As was mentioned by Jay, that moves it so that it's dark longer in the mornings. Currently, the ski day runs typically from 9 to 4:30ish for all of the tourists that come and ski here. And that would effectively shift that. Or if we tried to maintain that, our challenge is avalanche control work has to be done when you can see the results. And currently, we're starting now as early as 6 in the morning and getting crews out there. And as soon as they have light, they're able to do the control work. If this change now, it pushes the ability for us to do control work back an hour, which in effect pushes the ski day back an hour, which means our employees come later and they work longer. The concern would also be is if it is now darker longer, does that mean that it takes even longer for us to get the Cottonwood Canyon open and the traffic congestion problems we see now? Whenever that canyon is closed and the traffic backs up into Sandy and Cottonwood Heights, waiting for that canyon to open, we're concerned it would magnify that issue. So it could have an economic impact on the quality of our ski experience here too. So we're okay with it being one or the other. We don't particularly like the change, but we don't like the changing back and forth, but we prefer, from the ski industry standpoint, please consider the impacts it would have on any business that uses daylight in the winter for their operations, and they need daylight, because this would impact and change the workday and push people to working later and cause problems on the front end as what do they do with their kids, as well as putting our school children out there on the streets in the morning when it's dark. And as we see people commuting to and from work, the impact that could have. So those are the concerns that we have. We do not think it's in the best interest of our winter recreation industry to make that change.
Thank you. All right. Anyone in the room that wants to speak to this? Seeing none, we'll come back to the committee. Oh. No, we'll give you, come on up.
Wade Garrett, Utah Farm Bureau. Utah Farm Bureau has long held policy opposing changing the daylight savings time, so we would just oppose this bill, and I'll make it short and sweet.
Thank you.
And the pen doesn't work, so I won't even sign my name. You'll never know I'm here. There we go.
We'll get you a pen. All right. Okay. We'll bring it back to the committee for further discussion or action.
Jeez, I can write a ticket with this now.
Yeah. I'll take the prerogative of a chair then, and I'll just take it. Let's move to the next item. From all of the emails that I've received, there's not support to move this forward and to take it to the Senate floor. So I'll make that a motion that we just move the agenda. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those- Okay, that's unanimous then. Okay, thank you.